when did we decide working with your hands was beneath us?
Because let me tell you, your AI isn't going to fix your leaky pipe.
This is Taft, who still respects someone who shows up with a tool belt.
And this is Jim, who could build you a deck and explain what's wrong with the economy while he's at it.
And together, we're Unretired AF.
Hello, and welcome everyone to today's episode of Unretired AF podcast, where today we're going to be talking about how no one wants to work with their hands and why that's a problem. But before we do that, we want to give a shout out to our subscribers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. And if you are a new viewer here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, we want to thank you. And if you like our show, please consider hitting that subscribe button. All right. So we're going to start off with the trades are vanishing.
Yeah. So why is it that fewer young people are going into the trades?
Well, they are. They're not.
It's damn sure not because there's no demand.
Right.
Because society said the trades weren't good enough.
Yeah, that's crap.
It is
That's
crap.
just crap. Meanwhile, all those trade jobs, they pay well. They can't be outsourced, so
No.
it's a sure thing job. It's not going to get outsourced to Mexico or the Philippines or China or
Right.
any of a number of other places, India, that are taking our jobs.
Right.
And they're not going anywhere. They're going to be here forever. They're in other words, it's not like if you work at Blockbuster, there's no more Blockbuster. Those jobs are always going to be there. We're always going to be building. We're always going to be building.
Always.
Well, the cultural bias against blue collar work.
Yeah. So what happened is I think a lot of people starting in high school, they glamorized college. They've glamorized how you have to have a degree, how you have to be specialized.
Well, they tricked us too as parents.
They did.
To push our kids in that direction. Or we weren't good parents.
And they demonized, took money away from, canceled shop class.
Right.
Well, guess what? What happens if your car breaks down?
Right.
What happens if your fence gets blown over?
Right. Right. Did you take shop class in high
school? I did.
Which of the shop
I
classes
took
did you do?
both car and woodworking.
Okay, because my dad made me take auto shop.
Yeah.
In high school, and it was full. I mean, there were like 60 boys and me in there, and everyone was taking shop class back then.
Well, it was a great way during that day to learn.
Right. Right. Well, and all of us back then, before parents started buying their kids brand new cars, we all had, my parents did buy me a car, and it was $300, and it was like a 15-year-old Ford Maverick that had dings on there wasn't like a 2-inch spot on the car that didn't have a ding on it, and it was yellow and disgusting. But my dad told me, he said, if you're going to have older cars, you have to know something about it. I don't want you stranded on the road dependent on men.
Yeah. I had a $50 Chevrolet long bed pickup.
$50?
$50.
Really?
I remember. I bought it for $50. I bought it myself. It ran. It had a 6-cylinder in it, though, that I think was on par, the oil and gas relationship. It burned as much oil. They called me mosquito control because it had a lot of blue smoke. But I bet I put 50,000 miles on that truck. Went everywhere with it.
Wow. So, well, and when they took all that stuff away and then they pressured or guilted us as parents into pushing college on our kids, and not looking at any other options, then what we have now is we have a bunch of kids with degrees and a pile of debt, student loan debt, and a lot of them can't find jobs. And if they do get jobs, they're taking jobs that pay less than what the trades are paying. And there's no electrician who can, rewire their overpriced condos that they're buying.
Right. So ABC News quoted.
Well, let's just see how bad is it? How bad is the problem?
Have you been affected by it? I know we have.
Yeah.
I mean, in my business, I work I work a lot in the construction industry.
We have a lot of growth in our city too. We're in the Phoenix area, and there's a lot of growth here. And it has been for 20.
I mean, one of the guys that I know has probably, I think they're the second largest framing company in Arizona. And right now they have 30 or 3,000 permits pulled, and they don't have enough crews nor materials. Wow. Materials are short to be able to do it. So, with all that being said, ABC News ran a story saying that the construction industry needs 439,000 workers in 2025. That's just to keep up.
Wow.
To meet current demand. They're expecting in 2026 to need 500,000. Half a million people more.
Wow.
More. Half a million people to keep up with the growth. So what is that telling you?
Yeah.
We know because labor is short right now. What's going to happen to the costs? The costs are going to go up. And why are they going to go up? Because those people are going to get worked to death and they're going to demand more, or they're going to start shopping themselves. You can't blame them.
Right. No,
you can't blame them at all.
No.
The volume of work will go down.
Right. Or it can't go up with not workers.
If there's not workers.
It'll go down as people burn out.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter. And that's one of the things that's really concerning about all this talk about, oh, let's bring jobs back to the United States. I'm all for it. I mean, but we've got to have workers.
Yeah, and it even goes into the cities. For instance, in the city of Phoenix right now, to get a permit, to even get it to review, you're looking at 3 months. And it's because they're understaffed. And then when you do get on their schedule, you better not miss it, because it may take you 2 weeks to get back in the queue for them to come back and check you. Any place that there is high growth, they're all happening that because the cities didn't plan for this,
right?
And their budget doesn't allow them to be able to just go out and hire. So it's just a ugly, vicious cycle
it is.
that we're in right now.
That all started with this sort of making it like you're below everyone else if you're a tradesman. And that's bullshit. Our country was built on the labor force.
Well, I know a lot of roofers, I know a lot of plumbers, and I know a lot of HVAC guys that are making close to $1 million a year.
Yeah. Now they're entrepreneurs.
Because they are entrepreneurs.
I mean, you can make a great wage just as a tradesman in those fields, but there are a lot of people that are open up their own thing,
right?
And then the amount of money is,
and that's the beauty of being a tradesman,
right?
If you are an expert in your field,
yeah,
you can work for yourself.
Yeah,
you can 1099. You can be your own boss. You can do whatever you want to do.
Well, and we're not telling you guys anything you don't know. I mean, we know that you guys are the tradespeople. You guys are the ones that are, the backbone of our country.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame that, we had this perfect storm, which we're going to talk about now. I mean, understanding the skilled labor shortage.
Yeah. Yeah. So the 4 causes of the shortage are the biggest one.
Yeah.
We're talking to you, an aging workforce.
Yeah.
There's only 2 workers for every 5 workers that are retiring right now.
So 2 young people coming in
for
every 5 boomers that are retiring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and the second reason is lack of awareness. I mean, the trades jobs are still perceived as dirty manual labor jobs, and young people need to be educated about it, because right now they're unaware that most of these jobs are technical.
Right.
I mean, they're not just dirty manual labor jobs. I mean, you might start out there because everybody starts out, no matter what job you do. You get a degree and you go work for a law firm, guess what? You're going to be doing the shitty cases. I know how that goes because I worked in the legal field for many years as legal secretary. So it doesn't, that doesn't matter. But I think that we need to change the awareness with the young people.
Sure.
That that these are highly skilled jobs. These are craftsmen. I mean, for centuries, people have been proud of craftsmanship, and there's never been a time when craftsmen were looked down on.
Right.
Like now.
Number 3 is at our college and university level, there is insufficient training.
Yeah.
There are insufficient programs.
Right.
Kids are not coming out of there ready to enter the workforce, even with a degree.
Right.
Some of these kids are coming out with these, for no better word, basket weaving degrees,
right.
and then can't find any bamboo or anything to weave with.
Right.
So it's a huge, huge issue that behind the scenes, and this is truly one of those ugly truths, no one's looking behind the scenes and making sure that there is the workforce in order to take care of things when they break.
Right.
Because if it's mechanical, it's gonna break. Right. If it's your house, it's gonna break. You're gonna need help.
Right.
And for instance, with us again living in Arizona, the absolute worst thing there is when it's 110 and you call your HVAC guy that you've used for years, and he says, "Oh, Jim, I'm swamped. I'll get to you sometime this week."
And that's probably as early as he can get to you.
Right.
Because everyone is so is just so swamped.
Yeah.
Well, and the fourth reason is shortfalls in high school education. I mean, as Jim mentioned earlier, I mean, they've taken out shop classes, and now only 6% of high schoolers are even considering the trades as a career choice. And so, we need to look at that. I mean, there's no shop classes.
No.
There's not even like career day where they would bring in contractors and could talk to these kids about they could have they don't even know. They're not aware, or they got pressure from their parents or grandparents. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. And now we see that seed that was planted in the 90s and the 2000s is starting to grow, and we see it that we've got kids coming out with, like you said, these bullshit degrees, and they've got $100,000 of student loan. They can't even get a job that pays $45,000 a year.
Right. And then they wonder why a lot of these school loans are getting defaulted on.
Well, and these kids are not only coming out with school loans, but they're coming out with credit card debt.
Yeah.
And they're just overwhelmed. I mean, they're 22-year-old, kids, for lack of a better term. They're kids in our eyes. And they're just overwhelmed in a way that our generation wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
So, again, I'm going to say, I can only speak of what I'm seeing in the Phoenix market. Yeah. If your market is different than what we're seeing, congratulations. Yeah. Because here there is little or no training for any of these kids coming out. So how do we fix this? What can we do to fix it? So what we can do is builders, really all the trades can create partnerships, and like Tab just said, have a career day and go there and say what they do, and hire some kids on the spot if and only if they've got training. I mean, nobody wants to go with somebody that doesn't have training, no matter what. But I mean, you were telling me there's a program in one of the southern states
in Georgia. There's a program called Construction Ready, and it doesn't cost anything. It's a 20-day in-person program where the people that go in, and it's I think 7 to 5 for 20 straight days, and they come out with 5 different certificates. I think they do like their Ocean 10 class, and they do fall prepare or prevention class, and they do one where they're learning to drive forklifts or whatever. There's like I don't know what they call it, but there's a certificate for that, and a couple of other ones. And then they also have a couple days of teaching them how to prepare for an interview, how to dress, what to say, how to present themselves. And then on day 19 of the program, they do like a career fair where they bring contractors and manufacturing. It isn't just construction trades; it's manufacturing trades too. and they bringing them to the class on day 19 and do a job fair, and they have a 97% higher rate.
That's awesome.
From it, and
that's really
and
good.
then on day 20 they graduate. So
that's
it's,
great.
It's really good, because what we need to do and what they're doing there is, like Jim said, we need to create partnerships between high schools, technical schools, and the business sector.
Yeah.
So that the business sector tells the trade schools what they need workers in. And then they can convey to the high schools, how, what they can train in, so that when they, are done with their training, there's an actual job for them. I mean, imagine all these kids with these wacko degrees that they're coming out with. There's no jobs waiting for you if you have I'm not even going to say any of them, but I will say one that is always bizarre to me, because my sister had a friend that graduated with a degree from ASU in marine biology in Arizona.
I know somebody right now.
It's like
their son is living in Arizona with a marine biology degree from University of South Alabama.
I mean, that's
and cannot find a job.
I mean, because there's only so many jobs, and most of those jobs are going to be government jobs.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of private industry hiring marine biologists. I mean, I know there are some in the pharmaceutical, because they use some.
Yeah. And in the oil field.
Okay, but not a ton.
But most of them are either university jobs or government jobs.
Right. But how we get back on track with this is we've got to bring back shop class. We've got to normalize the trades.
Yeah.
We've got to have people feel like, like they
have a self-worth, and when they come out of school, they can make money. Real money.
Yeah.
Not talking about it,
take
but real money.
I read Jim's life.
So, some stories, some success stories.
We need to tell the kids the success stories, right?
Right.
That's what we need to do.
Right.
We need to share them.
Right. You need to share them. And, one of the best ways to do that is when companies and tradespeople come in and say, look, I'm not that much older than you. I own my company. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what it pays. Come help me.
Right.
And I mean, I don't care who you are, 97% of anything, if those kids are getting hired, 97% of them at a job fair, that's outstanding. Well, I mean, that is just outstanding.
And a lot of them are going on to be, they're going on and getting their certs, because I read through like some of the reviews on that. It's called constructionready.com. And they were going for electrician, welders. A couple of them were welders. There was a girl who was a welder, which I thought that was pretty impressive. Welders make decent money. Absolutely. Especially in the more, I guess what I was reading, there's a lot of different types of welding. The more certs you get for the different types of welding that you can do, the more you can command in pay. But, those are good jobs.
Well, the one thing too that is enlightening, that someone starting out in the trades, they're making, like, starting pay is like $67K.
Yeah, and that's starting pay.
That's starting pay.
So they're making more than a lot of the college graduates when they're starting out. Now, the college graduates, if they get a degree in something employable, they generally do make more money over time. But you have to keep in mind, they don't make more money at the beginning.
No.
And they have to have longer term of education, and they have to pay back those big student loans.
Right.
So it just, is that a good trade-off? I don't know. It almost seems easier if you go into the trades, you're making money right away. I think a lot of the problems too, I mean, we'll just take a little tangent, a little side jaunt here, but we see so many young people now who are putting off marriage.
Yeah.
And they're putting off marriage because of they're going to college. So that's what they're waiting. Then they want to, get control of their debt. They're so in debt after. And when they get out of college, they're not making a ton of money.
Right.
Whereas you can get into trades right from high school. By the time you're 22, you can be making $80,000 a year.
I mean, the sky's the limit, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
you can afford to start a family.
Yeah.
With that kind of money. Whereas, I think that's probably one of the contributing factors of why so many young people aren't starting families.
Right.
Like we did.
Right.
So,
I mean, I heard on the show the other day, I think it's in either North Dakota or South Dakota, that they're up there drilling again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're begging for people, and the starting wage is $105,000 a year as a roughneck.
Wow, that's
So
hard work.
it is,
but it pays good because of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
anything good is hard work.
Well, yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing
Well,
for free.
you know what? I want to take that back. That's not what I meant. Is it dangerous work?
Driving a car is dangerous. Sure, it's more dangerous than a lot of things.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But the pay is commensurate with that
Yeah.
risk.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the takeaway from this episode is that, honestly, as a society, we have got to stop looking down on the trades. And you might be asking, well, what does that have to do with being unretired? Well, I know a lot of you are downsizing.
Yeah.
And you're wanting to move into something smaller. Well, right now, all the growth areas where a lot of retirees are moving, like Florida, like here in Arizona, and other places, those places can't grow.
Right.
If there's no tradesmen to construct those buildings. And when we look at manufacturing, how that can affect you is it's going to affect all of us in the goods and services, especially with the tariffs now and how everything is working. We're trying to bring manufacturing back, but we've got to have that workforce.
So how can we, as the people that have aged help, we can talk to our kids and our grandkids and point them in that direction.
Yeah.
We can, if we have a trade, we can offer to mentor them.
Yeah.
We can help them. I'm telling you right now, if you are a tradesman and you want to do consulting work for someone, the sky's I mean, there is so much opportunity for experienced people to ride around in a truck and make sure stuff's getting done right.
Right.
I mean, you may be very, very surprised about that.
Well, and that's the reason I think a lot of people in our industry are unretired is because it's too lucrative for them.
It is.
I mean, we have friends that are in their late 70s who are still working and raking in the dough because there's no one to replace them. There's no one standing behind ready. All the people are like, boomers retire, boomers retire. Well, they don't really, nobody wants us to retire from the trades jobs because there's no one to take our place. So,
exactly.
So, we can hook that into another aspect of the unretired AF lifestyle. If you are in a situation where you want to or need to keep working, know your value. Understand there's a demand for what you know because there are not a lot of people, who can step into your shoes right now.
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, you need to be just clear and upfront.
Yeah.
If you're a carpenter, let's just use a carpenter. If you're a carpenter and you go somewhere, you say, look, I've swung enough hammers. I don't need to swing a hammer, but I can sure go to the job site and tell you whether your guys are swinging a hammer right.
Right.
So there is opportunity.
Right.
You got to just put yourself out there.
Or even teaching young people how to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like go out there and be a quality control, be a project manager.
There
you
go.
You can go around from job to job, make sure that things are being done right and show them how to do it right. I mean, Jim's done some project management over the years, and that's a great job for people in our generation.
It is.
Because we don't want to, we have to be mindful of our body.
Yeah.
And I think, we just can't do the same things. But the thing is, your value now isn't in your back. You can't really compete with a 25 or 30-year-old guy out there, and you don't need to because you're worth more what you've got between your ears.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? Well.
So if you have a comment about this, and whether it's good or bad, whether you agree with us or don't, drop us a note.
Or if you're seeing it in your area too, this issue with the trades.
We'd really like to know your experience. If you've called a tradesman and got ghosted or didn't show up or
saw skyrocketing prices.
Right. I mean, all you have to do is...
What were you telling me the other day about somebody who got a crazy-ass roof quote? What were you telling me? Where were they? Remember you were telling me somebody got a roof quote and they got like 5 of them, you said, and they were over 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
Where was that?
In California.
Okay. And was that like a regular size house or?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just, again, labor. And, pretty much
materials
every bit of free labor is in the LA area trying to rebuild. Right. So it's real easy to shoot the price up when you don't have people to help.
Right. Right.
So
yeah, leave us a comment.
Yeah, please leave us a comment. Hopefully your area is not as bad as it is here.
Yeah.
I hope you can get tradesmen.
Yeah.
I mean, we have trouble getting everything from, painters to
Right.
getting things delivered. You can go spend 10 grand at Home Depot and ask them when you can get it delivered, and it may be next week.
Yeah.
Where it used to be you paid in the morning and you get it in the afternoon.
Right.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah, it's a different.
Half the time it's because they don't have a driver.
Really?
For the truck.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, anyway.
Well, and if you've enjoyed our episode and you want to see more of our shows in your feed, please hit that subscribe button. We put out new content every weekday, Monday through Friday. Well, we're not slowing down.
And neither should you. And
together,
we're Unretired AF.